So I've been trying to explain this for about 10 minutes now, and it's actually surprisingly difficult to do in layman's terms, but bear with me here. What's happening with the Nidalee glitch is something called packet loss. And packet loss can happen two ways. What a packet is it essentially contains information about what's going on in the game. If I click here, the server will receive a packet with my command saying, move in that position. If I click here, then the server will see the packet saying, move in that position. That's pretty simple to understand, and that's how the game works. Now, the way that the game works specifically is that this entire game happening right now is actually happening on a computer or a server in California, where the North American servers are for League of Legends. Now, the reason that it's actually technically not happening in my client is because of this ping. If I click here, it takes exactly 81 milliseconds right now for the server to receive that information and then send my position back to me. And so that's why when you have higher ping, you'll see yourself move a lot slower, or you'll have lower response times for your champion. But this is what's causing this Nidalee glitch, this pounce issue. Is, let's say, for example, my client or I send in information saying, I want to go in this direction, I want to walk towards that bush. And then all of a sudden I pounce back this way. That was a shitty pounce, but let's say I pounce back this way, right? Both of those commands will almost always reach the server. It's usually not an upload packet loss that's an issue. If you have upload packet loss, the command just won't go through. For example, if my computer, for some reason, my network just drops the packets to the server, I won't actually start moving towards this bush if I click on it. I just won't be able to move. And that's what happens when you have lag, like massive amounts of lag, is you click somewhere and the click doesn't go through. That's because your packets aren't reaching the server. However, the issue of this glitch is not uploading packets to the server, it's downloading them. And this is why it's way more frequent than a lot of other lag glitches or stuff like that. It's because of the fact that other people on your team and other people on the enemy team, there's a total of 10 clients going on right now. And those 10 clients are receiving packets from the network, and they're all different packets because they're going to different positions. If I start walking towards this bush, everyone on this entire game will get that packet. If they have vision on me, everyone in this entire game will get the packet saying that Nidalee's moving towards this bush, right? Now, for example, if I decide halfway through to pounce backwards, and if that pounce packet doesn't reach everybody, for example, like 2 people on the enemy team, their internet for some reason doesn't download the correct packet, or Riot servers, it's usually Riot's infrastructure and network or the internet service provider that drops the packet. If that packet doesn't go through, your client's only going to reflect me still walking towards this bush. And if I walk into the fog of war and then I issue a command, your client's not supposed to receive that command, because you're not supposed to be able to tell exactly where I am unless you have vision on me. And that's how they kind of prevent hacking and prevent people from actually seeing exactly where I am. Now, what happens is if I pounce backwards in the fog of war and your client doesn't receive that packet, even though I may be jumping into your vision here, you won't actually see it because the packet dropped, and your server, your client, still thinks that I'm walking in this brush. And what will happen is essentially there's a disconnect between your client and the server. And the server is trying to tell you, hey, Nidalee didn't actually click there, she did pounce, but because there was a packet dropped, it has to quickly correct it. And so what you'll see is, you'll see me essentially teleport into this bush quickly, and you won't see me flash, but you'll see me essentially teleport from this position here, because your computer's trying to correct that packet loss issue. And this is why you see Nidalee more often than anyone else jumping around, is because these movement commands, what the server does is it sends an exact vector positioning, or it sends your position where you're walking to, and for the most part, this is like 5 seconds of movement. It requires only one packet of information sent to the server. In those 5 seconds, that correction would not really be noticed. So that's why you see most of these movement issues happen, or that's why you don't see anybody like glitching around the map when they're clicking on all these different positions. Now, of course, if you see someone clicking like 1,000 times around themselves, there will be packet loss issues there, and you'll see them teleporting in like tiny spots. But for the most part, clicking like this, it's pretty unrealistic, and you won't see that happen very often in the game. Now, the reason that it happens mostly for Nidalee and not anyone else is because of the fact that Nidalee uses her pounce more often in the fog of war than any other champion uses their dash or flash, because your pounce is a low cooldown, costs no mod, and if I'm spamming pounce in and out of your vision, you're only going to receive some of those packets saying my position just based on the server's information alone. You shouldn't be receiving my position if you don't have vision on me. But on top of that, if there's packet dropped in the fog of war, in and out of the fog of war, your computer's going to have to play a really big catch-up game in order to reposition me. And that's back in the days when you would see Nidalee teleport across the map or appear in a weird position on the map because of that weird glitch previously. That was a result, again, of that packet loss. Your computer would say, hey, Nidalee was originally over here, But because we didn't actually get that packet where she pounced into the Fog of War, we're going to actually have her show up here for a second and then teleport down back to bottom. And that's why you had that glitch happening pretty frequently with her previously. And it's not just exclusively a glitch with Nidalee. This happens with Graves and Lucian as well. But generally, you're not going to see Graves and Lucian dashing around the place and going crazy everywhere in the Fog of War. The reason it happens mostly with Nidalee is because she's pouncing so often. It won't happen every time she pounces. I would say it happens depending on your internet or depending on your current state of the network. It'll happen more or less frequently based on that. But then on top of that, it'll also happen only between Fog of War and Vision areas. And so because Nidalee's pounce is such a low cooldown and it costs no mana, she's the one that spams it the most. And so she's the one you're going to see the issue happen on more often than not. But this is why Nidalee hasn't been disabled yet, is because of the fact that it's not actually an issue with her kit. It's an issue with the network. The best solution I can see happening right now would be that the game actually issues movement commands, or it tells everyone where everyone is at all times. The server tells you exactly your position to the enemy team at all times. It just keeps you concealed. The problem with that is that if they were to do this, all of a sudden people that are injecting packets, or the people that are like decoding the packets that Riot sends, they can essentially hack and see everyone on the map at all times. And there's no way to prevent that. And so the best solution that I can think of right now would open up this game to way more hacking than you can imagine. And that's why there hasn't been a fix yet, is because it's not a glitch with Nidalee's kit. It's more so a glitch with the network or packet loss. And that's really difficult to fix without making the system very vulnerable to hackers. And that's why, for the most part, this glitch hasn't been reported widely by a lot of people. It's only by a select few people from usually the East Coast or from a further ping away. But there are still issues with people closer to the server. But this is why this issue hasn't been fixed yet, is because of this packet loss issue. It's not an issue with Nidalee's kit, and I want to emphasize that. It's not an issue at all with the player or anything like that. It's an issue with the server, or with the network, the server to client interaction between the server and the 10 other players in the game. And that's why, again, you'll see it more often than not in games, is because there's 10 points of failure. It can happen to every single player on the team. Now, of course, there's 5 people on your team that have constant vision of you, so it usually won't happen with same team issues. But there's still 5 points of error on the enemy team that will only see you jumping in between and out of Fog of War. And that's why it happens really often when you're playing against the Nidalee, is because of the fact that she can pounce in and out of Fog of War, and there's that packet loss issue. And I feel like I'm repeating the same thing over and over again, and I hope this video didn't get repetitive. But I'm going to end it here. I don't want to start a new game. So you can see I've been spending about 20 minutes to make this, and I wanted to try to emphasize exactly what's going on and why it's happening. So maybe people can understand it, maybe Riot can look into it and work on it. But yeah, that's, for the most part, why Nidalee is the most frequently affected one by this glitch, and why you see it happen so often. I know it's frustrating, and I feel like she shouldn't be disabled, but I do feel like it is very frustrating. Maybe she should be removed from ranked for the time being. But really, it's entirely up to Riot, and the problem with this is if they remove her from ranked, they have to work on her. They have to fix that soon, otherwise Nidalee's going to sit there like blocked out of ranked for like 20 minutes. Or not 20 minutes, she'll be blocked out of ranked for like 20 days or something, because they don't know how to fix it. It's a network issue that they don't actually have the ability to reproduce. And so, again, I'm rambling. I'm going to end this video now, but hopefully that explains what the issue is. And hopefully you don't find me annoying and my rambling really annoying, and hopefully that was informative. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a nice day.